come alive and step out the door. We got that magic, special sauce. Now shine on shadow, cause we make from the stars.
It's another thunderbolt from Serginho Dest. Christian Pulisic with that innate and perfect timing. And again McKennie, one giant step closer to Qatar.
Yeah, it's a long road.
ESPN's coverage of U.S. soccer is presented by Volkswagen. Our coverage continuing from Columbus, where we are moments away from kickoff between the United States and El Salvador. The temperatures have dipped below freezing, which is exactly what Greg Berhalter and the Americans wanted as they welcome the Salvadorans to the Midwest. Let's send it upstairs to the gentleman who will be bringing you tonight's broadcast, John Champion alongside Taylor Twellman. Boys.
Thank you, Seb. Evening, everyone. So the quest to play in what may prove to be the hottest World Cup ever resumes with a game in the deep freeze of an Ohio midwinter. In Qatar in November, temperatures are likely to average 25 degrees Celsius. Tonight in Columbus, they could plunge as low as 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, for most of us, that means thermal undergarments, winter coats, woolly hats, thick gloves, and maybe a carefully concealed hip flask. For the players, an altogether different challenge. The pitch protected by undersoil heating, but few of those asked to perform on it have ever encountered working conditions quite like these. A third World Cup qualifier in the Buckeye State during this cycle, and a second in the city that has become the spiritual home for the US men's national team. 99 nights ago, the US came from behind to see off Costa Rica here at Lower.com Field. The hope is that this should be rather more straightforward against a willing but limited El Salvador.
Remove your hats for the playing of the national anthem of El Salvador. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and welcome King Kel to perform the Star-Spangled Banner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night
occasion that promises to go down in US soccer history alongside La Guerra Fria of 2001 and the Snow Classico 9 years ago. Games where the dominant influence is that of Mother Nature. Well, Greg Berhalter has the best win percentage of any US men's national team coach in history. One of his most important skills has been to mix and match his team selections to navigate the unique demands of CONCACAF qualification. So 5 changes tonight compared to the last qualifier, and just the second time, Taylor, ever that Pulisic, Adams and McKennie have all started together.
And a decision that was made this morning, Dest over Reggie Cannon. They wanted to make sure Dest was fully recovered after playing 90 minutes against Barcelona. The 3 in the midfield dictated the second half against Mexico and Cincinnati. They will look to do that from the start. Way up Pulisic, extremely dynamic in that game, but a lot of talk about Ferreira over Pepe. I don't think it's as controversial as those are making it on Twitter and in social media. Ferreira is going to bring in Pulisic and Weah, and that pace him behind, and allow Weston McKennie to be that 4th attacker coming out of the midfield.
Well, as you can see there, the US have only led for less than 2 hours during this cycle. Perversely, El Salvador have been in front in their matches for rather longer. Glimpse there of the Guatemalan referee, Brian Lopez. The El Salvador coach, Hugo Perez, has been frustrated with his team's habit of fading in games and giving up leads. 7 of this starting 11 play their club football in El Salvador. Alex Roldan of Seattle is the skipper. Playmaker Dwayne Yasis with Vitesse in the Netherlands.
Yep, 2 center backs that are going to struggle on set pieces. I think it's extremely important that the United States dominate that. Landa Verde is going to sit as an old-fashioned stopper and allow Seren and Alex Roldan to just fill in the gaps and try to support El Salvador's front 3 going forward. But keep in mind, they're going to high press and get after it. It's how important they are collectively when the ball turns over.
A 12th career international for Brian Lopez, the 33-year-old from Guatemala, but a first tonight as VAR is introduced from this stage on in World Cup qualifying by CONCACAF. Tonight that role is performed by the Mexican Marco Ortiz. So Christian Pulisic back in harness. Just his 3rd start in this World Cup cycle. Matt Turner, his head presumably still spinning from news that his move to Arsenal is inching towards completion. Effectively, it has been agreed, as my colleague Taylor Twellman revealed earlier today. So, the 9th of 14 games for the US men, with Qatar in November the intended destination. They're playing in a freezer in the hope of getting into an oven. It's El Salvador in the predominantly white kit this evening, who come here as significant underdogs. But they are, Taylor, a side who habitually start strongly. In fact, they scored after 12 seconds in their last qualifier.
And I think what's going to be interesting is the mentality of the United States, because throughout this round of qualifying, they've had a tendency to leave it late. It's remarkable to think that El Salvador technically has led longer in matches than the United States. And I think in this cold weather, the United States want to be on the front foot. They want to dictate the game, get an early goal, and make sure that the second half is played at their tempo while not playing at El Salvador's trying to chase a game.
Nervy early moment for the goalkeeper, Mario Gonzalez, who's been battling illness the past couple of days and was a doubt. Whacked the ball against Jesus Ferreira and it fell kindly back to him. No worries about the playing surface itself. The soil heating here. Guarantees it will be just as pristine as ever. Salvador trained here briefly last night, just long enough to feel the cold, not quite long enough to get frostbite. And it is actually significantly warmer tonight than it was when they trained here 24 hours ago. Dest's free kick. Experienced left back, Larine. Dest. Sent spinning. And a well-placed referee gives the free kick.
And I think the defensive posture from the United States needs to be on the front foot. There's no real threat of speed and pace in behind from El Salvador, so put them under pressure. They are going to have the propensity to try to play between the lines, and if you can turn them over, ultimately you're going to find space going in behind.
Salvador have only won once against Panama, but they have proved to be tough nuts to crack, considering they're the lowest scorers, 4 goals. They're difficult to knock over. Really, only Canada have given them a thumping, a 3-0 win for the current section leaders. Of course, the US's next opponents in Hamilton, Ontario at the weekend. Lareen. There's Zimmerman. Duenas is possessed by Weston McKennie. Dominguez. Anthony Robinson. Tyler Adams. Yunus Musa. It's Pulisic. Let's roll down. Arm in the lower back from Musa. Where? McKennie. Crisp start by the US men's national team. Robinson. Equivalent of a traffic collision.
I think this partnership is going to be extremely important for the United States, Robinson and Pulisic, because they want Pulisic to have the freedom to come inside, play as a second forward at times, combine off Ferreira. Anthony Robinson having a lot of freedom, particularly with space in front of him. And so that partnership and understanding is going to be vital in spatial awareness for the United States in the final third. Because as good as Anthony Robinson has looked in possession and in that outlet, that final ball has been lacking from Robinson. He's got to be better. He's got the lowest crossing percentage of any player in World Cup qualifying in CONCACAF. So Robinson's going to have an impact in this game, but in the final third, he's got to be a little bit more clinical with that ball.
Alex Roldan. Enriquez. First moment of semi-alarm for the US. Dest. Now in Saran. Tamakas. Now Duenas, who is the main playmaker. Block was by Zimmerman. Lareen. Lareen's continued his gallop. Enriquez. Salvador haven't won in 7 games. It's 1 victory in their last 15. Despite that, the feeling in the Salvadoran football community is that progress is being made. They do have a plan, they have a structure that has been there for many a long year, and whilst maybe 2022 is too much of a stretch to aim at, 2026 is a more realistic proposition for them.
Yeah, great spot here from Serginho Dest, a little flat-footed from the United States on defending that throw-in, but remember in the opening game of World Cup qualifying, Serginho Dest was on the left side and he didn't have a great game big question mark coming into this one within 12 hours of the game, whether or not that would be Reggie Cannon or Serginho Dest. Good defensive awareness there from Dest on the back post. Wonder too, El Salvador defending the United States. I think they're going to be okay if the ball's at the feet of Matt Turner. Matt Turner's not Zach Steffen and doesn't have that ability to play between the lines and deliver a ball over 35, 40 yards. So traditionally throughout World Cup qualifying, you've seen El Salvador maybe press the issue a little bit. Early on, we've seen them sit in a little bit more than we have.
Adams to Dest. Releasing Ware, whose pace will certainly worry El Salvador. Dominguez stuck well to his task. Goal kick is given.
Just great recovery here from Dominguez. But this is what they want in the United States from Timothy Weah and Christian Pulisic down the left. There is a ton of space in behind when you play against El Salvador, because at times they're too compact, and they are okay isolating their two center backs, trying to win those 1v1 battles. Good run from Weah, better defending from Dominguez.
Running into trouble, and relieved to hear the referee's whistle.
He looks different, doesn't he, John?
That's buoyed by recent goals in Serie A.
Yep. I think Weston McKennie's at his best when he keeps it simple, when he's on the front foot, good energy, but moving around, having that idea to be that third or fourth attacker coming out of the midfield. McKennie's had a good start to this one.
Dominguez allowed that to run, trying to kid the assistant that it was going to be a goal kick, but a corner is awarded this time.
Again, where's this run? It's in behind in the channel. Where it comes between the left back and the center back, because Dest has picked up a very good position with the United States in possession, and they believe they've got a real advantage on set pieces. Good opportunity here 10 minutes in to take advantage of it.
And set pieces are something that they've not really exploited during this World Cup qualifying cycle so far. Pulisic, it was just flicking the top of Zimmerman's head. It's back with Robinson. Musa, Pulisic. By Larine. Sixth meeting of these nations. Just one El Salvador victory in a friendly in San Salvador. Almost 30 years ago now. It's a game in which Hugo Perez, the current El Salvador coach, played for the US. Christian Hill. His first start for El Salvador. Dueñas. This is Enriquez, who scored 2 of El Salvador's 4 goals so far. Marine going looking for the ball and fouling Tyler Adams in the process.
Just so good from Tyler Adams. I mean, this is a 45, 50-yard sprint across the field as El Salvador switches. Now it's 1v1 against Dest. And Tyler Adams sees Larine making that run forward. It's an underlapping run, so it's difficult. Walker Zimmerman's pulled out of position, and Tyler Adams has to commit immediately into that tackle. Fantastic recovery from Tyler Adams.
McKennie. One for Ferreira to chase, and he's got the edge on Dominguez. Ware arrives, so does Pulisic, and Christian Pulisic's shot travels barely a yard off his boot before it's blocked. McKennie. Just get the attentions of Landaverde, who's a fairly physical presence at the base of that El Salvador midfield. Dest. And Dest with the follow-up foul on Larine.
Ferreira's just a little bit of a different profile. He's got some pace. He's played in multiple positions for FC Dallas. At times he's played as a 9, at times he's played underneath, he's played wide. But he's had from day one a real good understanding and limited opportunities with Christian Pulisic combining. We saw it against Mexico and Cincinnati. Right there, a good example of that.
We were watching that replay, we had the strange sight of one of the El Salvador players, Enrico Dueñas, coming to the near side, taking off his shirt and his thermal undergarment and handing his thermals away to the coaching staff as if to say it's not actually that cold out there.
Well, mind you, Dueñas and Serginho Dest grew up in the same hometown, correct?
So Almere, 20 miles from Amsterdam, the same youth club. Kenny. Dest. Always demonstrative, Hugo Perez. Coaching a side against a nation that he represented with great distinction, including the World Cup of 1994. And in that round of 16 defeat against Brazil. As an orthodox left foot, it was more of a wand. Adams. He's the one player who needs to be a little careful on the disciplinary front this evening, because a booking for him would rule him out of Sunday's trip to Canada. Picking from a squad of 28, 23 on the team sheet tonight. No Zach Steffen, a back issue, still in Manchester. No DeAndre Yedlin, delayed by travel problems. He's here now. McKennie, all the way across to Anthony Robinson. Defensively cleared by Vigil. Here's Ferreira!
Well, and I'm not sure Jesus Ferreira could have gone down here, and this might have been a penalty. Great switch from Weston McKennie, and Anthony Robinson sees Jesus Ferreira, but the ball stays live, pulls off the defender, and this right there, I think Ferreira goes down. It's a penalty, but good on him, continuing the play. But it's the urgency by which Weston McKennie's playing with. There's a different energy around the United States when Weston McKennie's playing on the front foot, he's playing direct, and he's keeping it simple. He's the one player that brings that swagger to the team and gives them that little extra 5 to 10% of confidence all over the field, and Weston McKennie's given that so far.
Holter was involved in plenty of occasions where El Salvador provided dogged opposition during his playing career, but managerially this is just a third meeting, a 6-0 friendly win in Fort Lauderdale 13 months ago, and then the 0-0 in San Salvador on match day 1. It was a fairly tight game. Only 4 of the US players that started that night are starting today. Zimmerman less than happy.
As he should be. I don't see the foul here whatsoever. I mean, there's no foul. Zimmerman's first to the ball. The contact from El Salvador's player, Gio, it comes late. Walker Zimmerman frustrated, but how different has he been over the last 2 rounds of games?
They're transformed. Now, a very early entry on Greg Berhalter's team sheet rather than a peripheral figure.
Well, I find it interesting that Greg Berhalter talked to Walker Zimmerman and was blunt with him and said, you haven't played in any meaningful games for us. Part of that is on me for not playing you, but a lot of it is I don't have the confidence for you to play in it. And in that October round of games, he initially wasn't on that roster. I see a completely different Walker Zimmerman. I see a Walker Zimmerman that's playing as if this is his last chance.
Enriquez. Zimmerman is 28, which makes him the oldest player in the team. Just a grandfather figure, winning his 24th cap. Dest. The encouragement of open ground ahead of him. Helped on by Weir and over by Ferreira. That's a pair of misses now.
The first one I can raise your hand and say, okay, this one, this has to be done with your left foot. Fantastic switch from the United States. You're getting exactly what you want. Dest with open space in front of him. Weah recognizes that, makes a great run to that near post and flicks it. This ball has to be finished with the inside of your left foot. If you go with the outside of your right foot, it brings in the chance that it's off your shin over the top of the goal. If it's inside your left foot, that's in the back of the net, and the United States are up 1-0.
One of the debating points over tonight's selection by Berhalter. Ferreira starting. Pepe. Sardes also available and on the bench. Here's where McKennie. Over Landaverde to Dueñas.
Were you surprised not to see Pepe in the lineup tonight?
I was a little, in truth.
I just look at that over 690 minutes without a goal, making a transition to a new league, a new country. Having recently called the Augsburg game, and you just see maybe a young player that may be just heavy-headed with the change and maybe giving him a little bit of a break. Now, I think the bigger question is, the option is Ferreira because of the players that you called in and the roster you called in. But don't be shocked if that 19-year-old comes off the bench tonight and has something to say. There's nothing better for a goal scorer to be told, you know what, you're not given a chance tonight. My money's on Ricardo Pepi taking that as motivation.
This, though, is Ferreira, and now it's Weir. And it was the left-back coming in field, Larin, to save the day. It's a corner.
Now Salvador is going to press. They press more than any team in CONCACAF, and ultimately that means leaving space in behind, and you got 3 front runners from the United States that can exploit that space.
Zimmerman and Richards stationed inside the 6-yard box. Zimmerman that retrieves this. Musa. Giveaway by Adams to Landaverde. Now it's Dueñas. Vigil. Enriquez. Larin. Landaverde. Tried to go for the return and was upended by Musa.
From El Salvador's perspective, I think Enriquez has done a real good job of keeping the space and forcing Serginho Dest to have to defend him. Because we've seen them 2 or 3 times on this near side, for those of you watching at home, at switching the point of attack. He's been 1v1 and allowed some real good options for El Salvador to exploit the United States down this left side.
Unlikely distance from which to go direct, but Dueñas has placed the ball with purpose and approaches it in similar fashion. Walker Zimmerman. Won 4 of their last 6 World Cup qualifiers after a somewhat shaky start. Where? By the corner flag, it'll be a throw. His gloves for greater purchase on the ball. Zimmerman. It's Ferreira who set himself for the acrobatic, the bicycle kick. Lots of the constituent parts of this El Salvador lineup have had to change over the past week. A couple of players withdrew because of COVID, 2 more because of passport issues. So it was quite a job for Hugo Perez to come up with a starting 11 that would be competitive. Sounds how he's managed it.
I think right now they're looking at VAR because a potential handball from the flick-on header from Walker Zimmerman.
The Mexican Marco Ortiz is the VAR. He's inspected that and said, get on with things. VAR in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying for the first time tonight.
Yeah, but now it takes away one of my rants.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'd love to take away all your rants.
So would everybody else at home.
Larin. Turner confidently. And straight out to Pulisic. Nevada. Richards was caught in possession. It's time that the US have played a World Cup qualifier in the month of January since 1954 tonight. ESPN's coverage of US soccer is presented by the all-electric Volkswagen ID.4. Adams. Kenny begun a diagonal run through the centre. This is Zimmerman. Enriquez. Dueñas. It's a nice ball into plenty of space. Alex Roldan.
Just a bad place to lose possession, and there's a real confidence within El Salvador to get to this part of the game without giving up a goal yet. Switch the point of attack quickly. Dueñas with a great ball into Alex Roldan. And Anthony Robinson and Chris Richards unaware of that space in behind them down the left. And how close was that? Great chance for El Salvador on the counter.
Dueñas. Robinson. The heel. Surrendered by Pulisic. Alex Roldan. Salvador ranked 70th by FIFA. United States 11th. Clearly a chasm between them. That's late by Dominguez. Caught Jesus Ferreira painfully.
You know, Weston's having a conversation with Greg because the last time there was a dead ball, you saw Weston, Tyler Adams, and Yunus Musa have a conversation. Weston's finding space on the right with Dest and Weah, but we're seeing very little from Musa on the left with Pulisic and Anthony Robinson. They need to get a little bit more of Musa in these dynamic spots where he can break you down 1v1 and open up the game right on cue.
Here's Dest. Pulisic is coming across to claim the ball and tee up the corner.
How many times are the United States going to get a great opportunity to whip in a good ball and leave it short? They've got to be better with their final passes.
It's Pulisic. It's hoisted by Dueñas. Seren. Early looking for heel, and covered by Adams. Opening half hour, not without moments of alarm for the United States. And Timothy Weah is still down. So the referee has called a temporary halt. Back on his feet without the need for on-field attention. A lengthy history to this fixture going all the way back to 1977. 20 years ago tonight, that man, Brian McBride, scored a 12-minute hat-trick for the US against El Salvador in a Gold Cup quarter-final at the Rose Bowl. 7 career goals out of his 30 for his country against El Salvador, which is a national record. Verde. Enriquez. McKennie. Adams. Pulisic accepts the free kick. ESPN's coverage of US soccer is presented by Volkswagen and comes to you tonight from lower.com field, the splendid, still very new home of the Columbus Crew, in a city that is the spiritual home of the US men's national team. 12th time a World Cup qualifier has been played here. Second time at the new ground. Strong champion alongside Taylor Twellman, with Mark Clattenburg providing refereeing analysis and Sam Borden pitchside. Another game that kicked off at the same time as this, scoreless, Jamaica-Mexico. It's Musa coming forward, and it comes out to Ferreira. Dest. Adams. McKennie. Eventually a foul by the Juventus man.
Here we are 34 minutes in, and the United States getting a little frustrated. El Salvador doing a good job of just help, cover, being in key spots, and especially with their tactical fouls through the midfield. John, how many times in this first half the United States have turned them over, one or two passes, and then if that third one comes, they're out in open space. But El Salvador has done a good job of having those tactical fouls in key spots.
Salvador 8 points shy of what would be a playoff place. Perez still talking the talk and suggesting they do have a mathematical chance of qualification. In the real world, the chance went some time ago. There's no question he's got El Salvador heading in the right direction. A man who coached the US at under 14 and under 15 level, and embraced in that programme, helped the development of Messrs Pulisic, Adams and McKennie.
And they also have a Twitter account that's recruiting players.
They do. A gentleman who lives in Los Angeles by the name of Hugo Alvarado, who set up a Twitter account to basically encourage anyone with Salvadoran ancestry around the world to get in touch. If they're good enough, they'll get a chance. The likes of Dueñas are benefiting from that foresightedness. If you saw Salvadorans singing their anthem with gusto, one of the prerequisites for the incomers who were born overseas, if they only speak English, is that they learn every single word of the anthem. Musa.
At some point, though, persistent infringement has to be a part of this game, doesn't it?
Robinson. It's Ferreira and Weir centrally. This is Ferreira, it took a flick in front of him. Here comes Adams, he was thinking about the shot. Dest will do likewise, and it's blocked by Seren.
That was almost deja vu like Costa Rica here.
McKennie. Pulisic. Robinson. Adams. Solid the challenge by Enriquez. Christian Heel. Taylor made an interesting point about persistent infringement. I want to mark Clattenburg. The idea of tactical fouls. Are we getting to a point where a yellow card needs to be produced?
Surely is. That's one thing the referee needs to be aware of, is these tactical fouls. Sometimes the referee just blows his whistle, it's a normal free kick. But when they're trying to stop the play, especially in the midfield, they're stopping the attacking phase for USA, they need to bring out the yellow card at some point.
Mark, what about the impact of VAR? Now all of a sudden VAR's into the competition. Does that change the mindset of a referee at all?
No, especially not on the tactical free kicks, because that's something the referee should understand. The VAR can't interfere. But one thing the VAR will come in is the big decisions, and at the moment there hasn't been a big decision.
Frustrating first half for the United States. Started with Christmas and a bit of pizzazz. Des. Generally lose about as often as El Salvador win. So anything other than a home victory ultimately would be a major surprise this evening. El Salvador, as they've done to several of their opponents in qualifying already, making life very difficult. They are the awkward squad. Which is a badge of honour, not a criticism. Where? Dest! At pace. It's read by Seren. And Verde. Kenny. Have been held scoreless in just 2 of their last 23 internationals, and one of those was by El Salvador.
Just go back to the last play for the United States as they're getting frustrated. Look at how far Jesus Ferreira comes into the play to try to get the United States out of this. That's fine, but now once you get out of it and you get into the final third, there's got to be someone in the middle occupying the 2 center backs, because now if Weah and Des get by this, where's that attacking player through the middle? Because your center forward just dropped all the way deep next to Tyler Adams, your defensive midfielder. That's fine to get you out of pressure and to move around, but then you've got to have other players fill in the gaps.
Larine. Pulisic. Lucky to retain it. He's got Robinson wide. 3 waiting. One of them is Timothy Weah.
And Weah's having words with Pulisic because the early ball was on, and because Pulisic waits a little long here, that ball's on right now. And lucky for the United States, it still gets Pulisic and Robinson in a good spot. Finally, some composure from Robinson to pick up his head and find Weah. It's just the first touch lets him down. The El Salvador defender comes in, and Dominguez, and another wasted chance by the United States in the final third.
Depth on this corner. The ball was in the air an awfully long time for Mario Gonzalez to make his advance and to claim. Very frustrated to have a free kick given against him for that. Temperatures rising on the field, but presumably in the US locker room dropping at this stage now, Taylor.
Yeah, what's going to be very interesting is that sports science and Greg Berhalter have all come together. They're going to actually lower the temperature, as our Sam Borden reported in the pregame show, to try to keep the players acclimated to the weather. Now, truth be told, it's had no impact on the game whatsoever. The field's been fantastic. The energy in the crowd's been great. El Salvador players have been up for it. So, truth be told, there may have been a lot of wasted ink on what the impact would be from the weather in this game, because from the first half, it's been like every other normal World Cup qualifier.
Yeah. I don't want to ruin the myth, but it actually doesn't feel that cold. Dest with neat feet. Here's Robinson. Adams. McKennie. Ferreira. Pulisic. McKennie. It's Pulisic again. Anthony Robinson. Zimmerman. Hesitation from Dominguez. There's Pulisic, another opportunity. It's the ball and his balance at the same moment. McKennie.
Pulisic was complaining about the challenge at top of the 18. This is extremely close. From Marine coming in late off the top of him. Now from slow-mo, we've watched it. VAR has looked at it. I'm not sure it's clear and obvious.
Chris Richards. Pulisic.
The trend continues. Leaving it late, leaving it to the second half. 10 of the 12 goals of the United States under Greg Berhalter in this World Cup qualifying campaign have come in the second half. He has shown the ability to make adjustments and change it at halftime. He's going to have to do it again here in Columbus tonight.
It is an ongoing theme. The US have had more of the play. They've looked the more dangerous, but having said that, El Salvador have had a couple of moments as well to cause a frisson or two of American alarm. Let's hear from the head coach of the US men's national team, Greg Berhalter, with Sam Borden.
Thank you very much, John. Greg, a lot of frustration it seemed like in the first half. What did you see?
A couple of things. We need to play forward a little bit quicker. We win the ball, there's space. Second thing is we need to look to threaten their back line. Every time we do that, we're dangerous, and we just haven't done that enough.
You talked before the game about wanting to press, to turn them over. How do you feel you guys have succeeded in that area?
I think we can be a little bit higher and force a little bit more mistakes. A couple of times we did that, but we need to be more aggressive.
Thanks very much.
Okay, the views of Greg Berhalter at the midway point of game number 9 of World Cup qualifying. The views of Jermaine Jones, Casey Keller and Hurt Gomez coming up. The US need another second half surge because in Columbus at half time, it is goalless.
Welcome back to Columbus, Ohio, where the temperatures are dropping, but the intensity is rising. The United States and El Salvador deadlocked at 0 through 45 minutes of this pivotal World Cup qualifier. Great to have you back with us from lower.com field alongside former U.S. internationals Casey Keller, Hercules Gomez, Jermaine Jones. I'm Sebastian Salazar. There haven't been a ton of highlights from that first half, but let's bring you the best of the opening 45 minutes of play from here in Columbus. Some early chances for the man we talked about in the pregame show, Jesus Ferreira, getting the surprise start at the number 9 in Herc. He misses his first opportunity here in just the first 10 minutes.
It's a good one, good first touch right there, and then it's the left foot. He opts for power, doesn't place it over the top.
10 minutes later, Serginho Dest leading the attack. Tim Weah flicks it on. Ferreira, he's got to finish that.
Yeah, he has a good chance, but what Greg Bear has to say, amazing movement. And here you can see Walker makes the mistake, pass, losing the ball, transition game. And you're lucky, you know. If that ball goes in, you chase the game again.
El Salvador certainly, at least in the first 20-30 minutes, had their moments of dangers. Here's a great moment in the 42nd minute. Christian Pulisic fires it wide to Anthony Robinson, comes across, and Tim Weah's shot just knocked out of bounds.
Yeah, it was really tough for Pulisic to get into that first half. He moved more centrally to try to get on the ball. There you saw what he was able to do. Influential in dribbling, bringing in Robinson, and then a decent cross to the far post. Excellent challenge, has to be said.
Yeah. Quick answer, one thing we didn't see in that highlight, 45th minute, Christian Pulisic at the edge of the area, penalty shot. Was it a penalty for you?
No.
No. No, across the board. Okay, so what went wrong for the United States then in that first half?
I think what you can see that they're getting frustrated. Like first one, Christian Pulisic, he's coming inside. He wants to be more get more touches on the ball. And then I think Adams and Musa, they're dropping way too deep, so they don't get that first ball between the lines. And that's I think what El Salvador is doing really good.
Let's not underestimate Hugo Perez and how intelligent he is as a manager and how much he's getting out of this talent level of the team. He's frustrated the U.S. men's national so much. You can see Christian Pulisic coming centrally. He's managed to eliminate Christian Pulisic, eliminate Musa, and eliminate Weston McKennie. If you're going to beat us, it's not with them. And so far, it's working.
Well, and what made it easy was how slow the circulation was from the U.S. You need to, when you've got a group of players centrally, okay, they're a little bit high, they're a little bit pressing, but the circulation was so slow, so they were always able to adjust. Sometimes you got to skip somebody out, look for that space in behind, win a second
Very
ball.
mechanical, right?
It was.
Yeah,
it was real slow.
Yeah. It's not just this first half that's a slow start. This is starting to become a habit with the team. How big a problem is that case?
Well, it is a problem because what did we talk about? We wanted to see putting El Salvador, a team that likes to press, on the back foot early. The first 7 minutes of that match, that first half, the U.S. just played the ball around their back line. Sometimes it's about putting it into space, stepping up, making awkward decisions. The one time they had to make an awkward decision, El Salvadorian goalkeeper hits the ball off of Ferreira and it almost could have gone anywhere. But instead then just backed up, passed the ball around, let them get nice and comfortable.
How do you explain the slow starts?
What are we going with? Very good at tactical adjustments in the second half, or doesn't get it right in the first half, because it seems to be a theme, and that's a problem.
Yeah. Jermaine?
Yeah, it's tough because we talk all about it the whole time. It's like, why is it always that they need that second half to show their real face? Because we talk about the quality in the team, we talk about the transitions, the changes and all this stuff, but why is it the first half that they have always a slow start?
8 shots, none on goal. The United States scoreless in 45 minutes against El Salvador. The face of frustration, Christian Pulisic.
It's football February on ESPN+. English Giants navigate the perils of the FA Cup, plus the power of Bundesliga and the beauty of La Liga. Next weekend on ESPN+.
A fantastic February of football coming for you on ESPN+. But here in January, it's still scoreless between the United States and El Salvador. One of 4 matches taking place across the CONCACAF region. It's the 9th match day of World Cup qualifying. Honduras, Canada, and Costa Rica, Panama still to start. Jamaica and Mexico right now scoreless at the half. In Kingston, Jamaica playing a man down. The U.S. needs goals, and maybe they're coming off the bench. Giassi's art is an option. In Columbus, we're back in a moment.
Goalless in Columbus. Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of US soccer, presented by Volkswagen. Important World Cup qualifier in this city tonight. 0-0 at its midway point. The US have spurned a couple of good opportunities, both of them falling to Jesus Ferreira. Alex Roldan, American born, going close for El Salvador. No changes in personnel to report as the second half is back underway on a bone-chillingly cold night in Ohio. Here's Musa. Robinson. There's Vihil. Proving to be dogged and occasionally inventive in the first period. Robinson. The US held scoreless for the 7th time in 9 World Cup qualifiers in this cycle. Second half of games, they have outscored their opponents by 10-2.
And there needs to be a little bit more urgency by how quickly they switch the point of attack and how quickly they can get the ball in good spots where you get 2v1s, 3v2s. I think Pulisic needs to be a little bit quicker. He was slow at times, and even coming too central. If he stays wide, he's had better moments, and try to allow the space for Musa to come through the middle, because when he does that, he oftentimes opens up the defense. Someone from the back has to step into that, and then you get yourself some real good angles in behind that back line.
Yunus Musa.
I will say, John, I am a little surprised there wasn't a halftime switch. I thought Ricardo Pepi might have come in to this second half from the beginning, because the way you saw so many crosses coming in, the best finisher on the team is Ricardo Pepi, so don't be shocked if he comes in here in the next 10 minutes if they don't get any chances going forward.
McKennie, Robinson. Augsburg, of course, 3 appearances for his newer club. 12 games without a goal is his recent run. Stretches across the national team, his old club Dallas and his new one Augsburg. Flag is up for an offside. Now that allows us to clear up one thing from the end of the first half. Mark Clattenburg, explain to us just how close the US were to getting a penalty.
Yeah, the VAR looked at this very closely, and what he did is he zoomed right in, and what you can just see is the foot is millimeters. When he makes the foul, is just millimeters from the line. If it was touching the line, it would have been a penalty kick.
So just a blade of grass away. It remains obstinately 0-0. Robinson, seen plenty of it early in the second half by Ferreira. And away by Alex Roldan. Pulisic. Adams, fending off Dueñas. McKennie. Ferreira. Training yesterday, and training's not always a guide. There were lots of nice link-up moments between Ferreira and Pulisic. We've seen precious little of that.
Yeah, we've seen very little of that, primarily because the United States have had so much success going down the right side. But a lot of it is just the spacing between Pulisic, Robinson, and Musa has been off. Dest, Weah, and even McKennie have done a good job of finding those angles. Down the left, we've seen very little of it.
Weah has won a corner. This will allow the US to bring forward the heavy artillery. Walker Zimmerman, Chris Richards.
Key target here is Walker Zimmerman. So can Chris Richards get near post, drag a defender out of the way, and find Zimmerman?
That's McKennie. Goalkeeper is absolutely nowhere. And in the end got a little lucky.
Well, we saw it in the first half. Mario Gonzalez very quick to come off his line, whether as a sweeper keeper with balls over the top or even here defending a corner. Risky move from Mario Gonzalez to come 12 yards off his line. Nowhere near that ball in from Christian Pulisic.
That's an eccentric piece of goalkeeping. Nearly cost his team. Darwin Seren is taking a moment to himself. Anthony Robinson has had a number of surges down the left in the opening 5 minutes of the second half. Of 14 qualification games for the United States on the road to what they hope will be a return to the World Cup stage in November in Qatar. They need another second half surge. Of the 32 spots at the 22nd World Cup now occupied after Iran booked their place today. A 1-0 win over Iraq in Tehran. Brazil and Argentina already there. Qatar as hosts. Swathe of teams from Europe already confirmed. Larin. We're only 4 weeks away from the start of the new MLS season. Our season opener for our coverage on ESPN is on Sunday, February the 27th. The Galaxy against the reigning champions, NYCFC. Here's Weah all the way through, and this time Gonzalez is heroic rather than rash. Robinson! Acrobatic and extremely well timed. Second international goal for Anthony Robinson, both in World Cup qualifiers, and the breakthrough for the US.
And the 11th goal they've scored in the second half to lead all CONCACAF in World Cup qualifying. It's deja vu all over again. It's Timothy Weah in the second half here in Columbus, getting in behind, using his pace, and throwing numbers in the box with both Ferreira and Pulisic, and Weah trying to get on the end of it, and Anthony Robinson in the right spot at the right time with a huge goal for the red, white, and blue here in Columbus. A massive, massive goal to take the pressure away from Greg Berhalter and the home team.
Anthony Robinson has been playing his football amidst a flurry of goals of late for a free-scoring Fulham team. He's bagged 3 himself for his club this season, and now a second for his national team. The most predictable source for a goal, nonetheless a very welcome one from a US perspective. Richards. I like your use of deja vu all over again, Taylor, particularly as it's the second time you've used it tonight, so that made it deja vu all over again, all over again.
Yogi Berra is my idol, John, for a reason, but more importantly, Timothy Weah loves second halves here in Columbus. In front of those fans, just fantastic run over the top. Hectic defending from El Salvador. And good on Anthony Robinson to stay with it and make sure the play was done with as the ball pops out to him in a good finish.
Is it a particular ploy in the second half? I mean, Robinson hasn't had exclusive use of the ball, but he's had an awful lot of it. Seems to have been the go-to man, and he's in possession once more for the US. His tail up. Where? McKennie. Pereira, and a great save by Gonzalez. His outstanding moment of the night to keep it at 1.
Oh, it's an unbelievable save from Gonzalez, but how about this quick touch from the chest of Musa, and then just being creative enough to recognize he doesn't have enough time to hit it with his left. Quick deflection on goal. Big time save to keep El Salvador in this from Mario Gonzalez.
To Dest. Taking on Dueñas. But awkwardly away by Tamakas. That was out of play. Another corner. Dueñas dueling with Dest. The two men brought up in the same Dutch town. Double El Salvador substitution on the way until after this corner kick. And the header by McKennie was a gift of a chance for 2-0.
Oftentimes the player that sets the pick or the body rub on these set pieces becomes the wide open guy. All the attention in the world on Walker Zimmerman and a wide open header for Weston McKennie.
He scored with a couple of headers in recent weeks in the space of the last 3 appearances for Juve. Christian Hill is replaced by Nelson Bonilla, who is making his first appearance for 7 months. He's with a club in Thailand, and the quarantine restrictions are such he's just not been able to come and play on international duty. And Dueñas also being replaced by Eric Calvillo, who went to the 2015 Under-17 World Cup with the US as a teammate of Christian Pulisic. Calvillo, recently of San Jose, with El Paso in the USL. Bonilla. Tamakas. He is winning his 50th cap. He is Salvador's premier striker of the moment. Pulisic. Pulisic again. Wide open is Dest. 4 waiting this time. Game's got a different feel to it now. Goalkeeper is hollering at some of those in front of him. Salvador, dogged though they've been, is that they don't score many goals, and once they fall behind, they often have no answer. News coming in from Kingston, a game that's being played with a similar kickoff time to this. Jamaica have taken the lead against Mexico, even though they're playing with 10 men. Damian Lowe sent off at the end of the first half, and Daniel Johnson has scored for Jamaica, who lead Mexico by a goal to nil. Dest, where? Stages. So bearing in mind this scoreline and that one, the live table has an interesting complexion to it. It's currently on top with 18 points. Mexico back on 14. In Honduras, Costa Rica playing Panama. The other fixtures tonight.
The biggest difference I've seen in the first 15 minutes of this second half, John, is the spacing between Musa, McKinney, and Adams. At times, I felt Adams, and I think Jermaine Jones said this on the desk at halftime, Adams and Musa were dropping too deep, and it forced Weston McKennie then to fill in the gaps. Now Weston McKennie's playing almost next to Jesus Ferreira, so now the spacing is different. Now it's integrated in between the lines, and they've had a more impactful presence, I think, in the final third, because McKennie's playing further up the field.
Good point. So good for the United States. ESPN's coverage of US soccer is presented by the all-electric Volkswagen ID4. Followed by Zimmerman. Ferreira. Plays it off the shins of Landaverde for a bonus corner for the US. Whilst Christian Pulisic will take this corner, he won't be doing too much beyond that, we're told. Short to be substituted and replaced by Brendan Aarons. Managing minutes with two more important qualifiers to come. Pulisic. Bit of pushing going on there. Adams taking exception to Larine, falling him out of the path of the ball.
John, you mentioned it in the first half, that set pieces throughout this qualifying cycle haven't been that dangerous from the United States, and yet the delivery's been there over the last 3 or 4 corners here from Christian Pulisic. And this is a set piece here. Keep an eye on the flick on from Walker Zimmerman.
Latest score from San Pedro Sula, Canada, a goal up on Honduras through an own goal. Canada, who await the United States in Hamilton, Ontario on Sunday. It will be played on artificial turf in probably colder conditions than these. a limited capacity of 12,000 and just 300 tickets for US supporters. So not really Christian Pulisic's night, as he makes way for Brendan Aronson, who has been starved of competitive football because of the winter break in Austria. He's not played since December the 11th. Thoughts on Pulisic's contribution?
I think it's an interesting time right now for Christian Pulisic, because he's been very forthcoming over the last 3 or 4 days. But just how difficult Chelsea's been. And I think it's difficult. I came into this one in these 3 games in this round saying I'm very interested in the form of Pulisic.
Robinson, and still. Ooh. Foul eventually given and a free kick for El Salvador.
And I think the best Christian Pulisic is one that is proactive and not reactive. And yet the reactive has been the staple for the United States. Go in at halftime, fix it, and come out in the second half and be on the front foot. Remember, Anthony Robinson in the 48th minute against Honduras scored the tying goal. Here he is tonight, given the leading goal, and it's been just changes in the second half that has helped Christian Pulisic in the United States.
US leading, Canada leading, Jamaica surprisingly leading against Mexico, despite being a man down. Such are the vagaries of CONCACAF World Cup qualifying.
John, you were in England for a month. It's interesting times at Chelsea, to say the least.
Yes. Particularly with the complaints of the coach over the workload and the demands of playing through the remnants, we hope, of the pandemic. Just a general lack of fun about the place.
Yeah, it's not a Christian Pulisic thing, it's a Chelsea thing, because when you look all around that squad and the attacking players, you can count on maybe 2 fingers how many are actually enjoying themselves.
Larin for El Salvador. That's Landaverde. Aronson. Following up on Tamakas. No ill feelings. Many forthcoming soccer attractions on ESPN. The She Believes Cup. US women against the Czech Republic. Thursday, February the 17th at 11 Eastern on ESPN. It's the first of 3 live games involving the US women that you'll be able to enjoy with us on ESPN. Of this particular race run. US with their noses in front through Anthony Robbins.
Primarily a right winger, right midfielder, at times left midfielder for his club, and now with the national team, just a completely different element than any of the other midfielders Greg Berhalter has. because centrally he can break you down with the dribble, open up, and then just got a great facilitating eye of making the right pass at the right time. The second half's been a little bit more successful because Musa's had a little bit more of an impact.
Rash of substitutions coming, certainly 2 for the US, and it looks like 2 more for El Salvador. Bonilla, Landaverde, Seren was charging through the middle. Here is Robinson, and this time he's played in Aronson, and Ware is in the middle. Substitutions for the United States are going to see the introduction of Giassi Zardes on his home ground. Also, happily, of Jordan Morris. So much anguish. 2 separate serious knee injuries. Ferreira to Dest. McKennie. And a little nudge on the back of Larine. So this allows the window for a double change by each team. Salvador going first. Blanco already on there, and Narciso Oriano, who is a defensive midfield player, is going to replace Landaverde. Blanco, a 22-year-old left-back come midfielder who is now playing for North Carolina. And there should be a warm welcome for both these gentlemen. Zardes will be first to replace Jesus Ferreira. There's a hometown player. You can expect warm acclaim. And the second round of applause will have a more humanitarian twang to it after all the travails that Jordan Morris has been through. He was back in friendly action in December, but he's involved in a World Cup qualifier for the first time in 4.5 years.
USA! 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 USA!
Morris coming on, he'll take down the left wing spot. Aronson will switch over to the right wing, and the 3 subs up front for Greg Berhalter's of the mind that El Salvador is going to be chasing their World Cup lives here, throwing numbers forward, ton of space in behind, fresh legs, all 3 players very direct, looking for that second goal to put this game away.
Lost on their last 14 visits to play the US in the US. Seren. Riquez. Blanco. The broad chest of Zimmerman. Dominguez. Zardes. The referee could have played the advantage.
just has felt like just any kind of touch or contact, the whistle's been blown, hasn't it? You know, some of these you can allow. This is a foul, absolutely, but the advantage is there for the United States.
Just take a breath. Here's Brian Lopez from Guatemala. Gonzalez, partial collision with one of his own defenders, which has caused a bit of damage to both parties. It's Vigil with whom he collided.
Well, Mario Gonzalez is undersized, but that's not talking about his ambition. From the opening whistle, he's come off the line. He's been very proactive coming off the line, taking chances. And lucky for El Salvador, nothing's really hurt him, but he's also been fairly good coming off the line, is acting as that almost that third center back at times.
A blow to the head, so as much time as is necessary will be taken. With the United States enjoying a narrow but not yet match-winning lead, courtesy of Anthony Robinson.
Yep, and so much of this team under Greg Berhalter has gone in at halftime, made small adjustments, and then come out in the second half and be on the front foot. 11 goals in the second half to lead all teams in CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. And Anthony Robinson has had 2 of those. And a big one at that.
Marks out of 10 for the celebration, Taylor, as a stylish individual yourself.
I mean, I thought it was fantastic, but then when he grabbed the hamstring, he baited me. I thought he pulled his hamstring, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well,
and if you pull your hamstring doing it, a handspring, then you know what? You open yourself to a lot of criticism.
Just a bit.
I'll pay you $1,000 after this game to do a handspring live on television.
Let's talk about the standings, shall we? And there they are. Canada a goal up in Honduras to an own goal, and Mexico remarkably a goal down against the 10 men of Jamaica in Kingston. Costa Rica against Panama to follow a little later. 5 matches for the US to play after this. Go to Canada the weekend, then they host Honduras, home of Minnesota United, and then something of an insurance policy needed, because the final 3-match window in March includes trips to Mexico and Costa Rica. Support for the United States. Alex Roldan. Seren. Tamakas. Does play an advantage after a foul by Zardes. Anything wants a word with the recently arrived Giassi Zardes? It's only a brief one after that foul. Led by Bonilla. Alex Roldan. Enriquez.
Still was a little surprising though, since the goal, how disjointed the United States have been at times in this game, because they had El Salvador on their heels. They brought in some changes, and yet it's been a little sloppy over the last 10 minutes. You know, that's the interesting part of this round of games, John, because so many people have asked, well, how many points do they need to qualify for the World Cup? Earlier on SportsCenter, we were asked the same thing, and naturally everyone says, all right, well, you got to get 7. You got 2 home games and then difficult game at Canada, but Canada's missing some players, and it's going to be 50% capacity with fans. But ESPN Stats and Info says if the United States get 10 points out of their final 6 games, they're in, and not the playoff. And this is just a great opportunity that now if you get 3 points tonight, and you go to Canada and somehow find a way to get 3 points there, that game in Minneapolis against Honduras could be the real game that puts the nail in the coffin for the United States of going to the World Cup. The last thing you want is the final game of the World Cup qualifying cycle at Costa Rica to need to get points out of that game.
The potential of a trip to a potentially desperate Mexico by that stage, especially if they do drop more points tonight. Kingston, Jamaica. Salvador, not done yet, and here's Bonilla. They were given a motivational pep talk by video link by the great Argentine striker Mario Kempes yesterday. There and were emboldened by the great man's words. Top scorer of the 1978 World Cup. Here's a possible platform for El Salvador. McKennie. Substitution of the night by El Salvador, Joaquin Rivas of FC Tulsa, taking the place of Houston Dynamo's Darwin Seren. Rivas, a much more attacking option. McKenna. Dest. Present. Adams. And Zimmerman. Matt Turner hasn't had a save to make tonight. Goalkeepers, the biggest problem of just trying to keep warm, to maintain concentration in case of being required. Red letter day for him as nation fears of his move to Arsenal, become eventually the 9th American to keep goal in the Premier League in England when his chance arrives. Robinson. Orellana. Dest. America trying to finish it. Dest might. Steady gives it to Robinson. foot on the gas with Rivas. Team that are the lowest scorers in World Cup qualification within CONCACAF. Just 4 goals. Tamakas, and the glancing header by Rivas. Sharp intake of breath.
Absolutely, especially from the United States perspective, because now all of a sudden El Salvador are fighting for their lives, throwing numbers forward, making substitutions to try to get Rivas and other players to get on the end of it. Just hasn't been a clinical finish from the United States after getting that early goal in this second half. And in saying that, I think if one of the 2 chances that Jesus Ferreira had in the first half go in, John, I think we got ourselves a different game. Because I think it takes the edge off, then all of a sudden you feel like you've had that success early on in the first half. You got that goal, which you haven't really done so in this qualifying cycle. And so I think the confidence would have been different. The players would have been a little looser, yet you go in at halftime, you adjust, get a good goal from Anthony Robinson. But it hasn't been clinical by any stretch of the imagination.
Blanco hauling down McKennie. And I wonder, Taylor, briefly, what will history say about the weather conditions? Because so much was made about the cold, and in fact, it doesn't really appear to have had much of an impact.
I think the post-game press conferences is where you're going to learn from it, when the players talk about it, whether or not it was an impact. But from the viewers at home, from you and I, from the studio guys in the corner, the field's been magnificent, the atmosphere's been great. The game's been a normal World Cup qualifier.
Still not home and hosed. Garnish of a second goal in by Aronson. That's Zardes.
And they've had their opportunities in this second half. Remember, a wide open header from Weston McKennie, and then here from Giazzi Zardes. Set pieces was a real advantage for the United States. They just haven't taken advantage of it.
Subject of the temperatures, it's the first time that El Salvador have played a game below freezing point in 20 years, since an Olympic qualifier in Canada in 2002.
Well, they didn't know what to expect. They had to go to Dick's Sporting Goods to buy snowsuits, boots, winter coats, because they didn't come prepared.
28 of each. Cameo for Kellen Acosta, who actually played in the coldest ever MLS game 3 years ago in Colorado. Temperature that night was just 18 degrees. Tonight it's hovered around about the 30 mark. We'll be back, of course, with MLS in a month's time. Our season opener, the Galaxy against the reigning champions NYCFC from Dignity Health Sports Park, Sunday, February the 27th at 5 Eastern on ESPN. We very much look forward to bringing you that and the entirety of the 27th season of Major League Soccer. Kellen Acosta, now also resident in LA, having joined LAFC. Aronson. Morris. There's McKennie and Zardes. McKennie has pulled up lame on the 6-yard line. He's limping significantly, and Dest has it for the US. The last thing the US need is to lose Weston McKennie for an upcoming very important game in Canada. He's not moving freely. McKennie. Effectively trying to make that pass, and Alex rolled down to Enriquez. It's Calvillo. A deflection on the shot. It was going wide, but Turner able to bat it down and collect and eat up a few more seconds on the clock. Weston McKennie is the worry now for the United States.
Oh, and I also think his best quality is when he makes the runs out of the midfield. He's so dangerous to track because he's very good getting on the end of things, and it's a great run forward from Weston McKennie to try to give that opportunity to Giazzi Zardes.
We're into 4 extra minutes here. 4 minutes between the United States and a narrow but important victory, which will solidify their hopes of being in Qatar at the end of 2022. Effectively a result that would spell the end of the road for El Salvador.
Well, and this is that run I'm talking about. Good ball from Jordan Morris. He gets on the end of it, trying to knock it down to Giazzi Zardes, but immediately came up with a cramp of some sort. But we came into this one talking about form from so many players, and I'll argue with anyone that I think Weston McKennie's in the best form of his life. He came into the scene with Schalke, but what he's done over the last month with Juventus, scoring goals in 2 of his last games. McKennie's been good tonight.
And he is centrally involved in this flashpoint. To allow play to resume quickly, and this is Zardes. And it's behind for a goal kick. 2.5 minutes. Mexico have scored 2 late goals in Kingston against the 10 men of Jamaica to lead now by 2 goals to 1. Tamakas. Richards. Still just Anthony Robinson's goal to show for what generally has been US superiority. A bit wasteful. It's allowed El Salvador to remain competitive all the way through. Aronson. Again, Brendan Aronson. Dest. Adams. Well, it's not a comfortable ride. Bumpy track towards Qatar.
Well, and I think if you ask Greg Berhalter's ideal situation would have been a 2-goal lead with about 60, 65 minutes to go, so then he could start thinking about resting some of the players. But credit to El Salvador, they've made the game ugly, they've done a good job of frustrating the United States, and it's been that kind of game. But when it's all said and done, there's no pictures on the scorecard. 3 points is 3 points, no matter how you slice it and how you get it at home. And now the job will be, can you find a way to somehow get 3 points in Hamilton against Canada?
Zardes. Adams. Aronson wanted it, then he strayed offside. Played a little earlier. Dest also pulls up a little lame now. Another injury worry for the US. They got there in the end. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't comprehensive, but tonight the US will be saying, here's to you, Mr. Robinson, because it was the left back brought up in the city of Liverpool to two American parents who was the tangible difference maker with a goal early in the second half that keeps Greg Berhalter's United States on course for the World Cup in Qatar.
And in the driver's seat, because now you go into Hamilton against a depleted Canadian side with only 50% capacity, an opportunity to steal 3 points on the road and get yourself to Minneapolis, where against Honduras you can finish this break with 9 points, because if the United States can find a way to get 9 points, then make no mistake about it, they'll be in the 22 World Cup.
A 15th straight home win for the United States over El Salvador, who have still only ever beaten the US once. The identity of the match winner, unlikely but welcome. Anthony Robinson with a goal in the 52nd minute, as we send you down to Seb with Jermaine, Casey and Herc to pick the bones out of a narrow US win.
Thank you very much, John. Taylor, great stuff. Yes, let's pick the bones out of this thing. Anthony Robinson, your man of the match, your game winner. But guys, it's 3 points in the book. However, it was not easy for me.
Yes, it was not an easy game, definitely, but I have to say, that three in the midfield, Adams, Weston, and Musa, that is the guy who keeps this team running. And if they're, what we talked first half, the second half, they started like a little bit like more higher up, especially Weston, and you can see they can change this team.
They made it harder than they should be, right? It was very sloppy. Tactically, it wasn't brilliant. The adjustments maybe came a little too early. When they started getting their rhythm, when you got that goal, you take out Christian Pulisic, your most dangerous player, and then it kind of let the life out of the game. You know, the air was gone out. And despite everything, you get the results, but it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, it really wasn't, Case.
No, it wasn't. And what's rule number one in World Cup qualifying? If you don't play well, still find a way to get 3 points. Grind it out, whatever means necessary. Your left back comes up on an overlap. The ball's bouncing around, it falls to him, and he slams it in. Okay, yes, it should have been more comfortable, no question about it. It should have been better, but in the end, you keep a clean sheet, you get the goal, you get your 3 points, and you go down the road. But you have to know going forward, 5 games left, it has to be better. If you want to make this comfortable, it has to be better.
What changed in the second half, Jermaine?
I think you were able to see that they just wanted it more, you know, that they wanted to started like pressing a little bit earlier, and then they were like sitting with Adams, Weston, and Musa. They were sitting way higher up the field to, you know, to connect to Ferreira in the front, you know, and that's what makes the difference. Like if you just too deep and you're trying to split between the center backs, Adams in the first half is you're just giving what El Salvador wanted.
They definitely in that first 10 minutes went a little bit more direct and got some balls down the channels. They won second balls and they put some balls in the box. Still, consistency of service in the box isn't where it needs to be.
There you go. Another strong second half performance for the United States. Greg Berhalter's team takes another step closer to Qatar. Plenty more coming your way from Columbus after a quick break.
It's Football February on ESPN+. English Giants navigate the perils of the FA Cup, plus the power of Bundesliga and the beauty of La Liga. Next weekend on ESPN+.
Anthony Robinson, your game winner tonight? How about that? He's flying with his national team and his club. Pull him into the 4th round of the FA Cup where they'll take Manchester City, as we saw. Watch that on ESPN+. He's the hero. U.S. wins 1-0 over El Salvador here in Columbus. There he is, getting all the plaudits. Well-deserved. Casey, Herc, Jermaine, Seb, back with you from lower.com field. Let's start with the man of the hour, Anthony Robinson. A well-taken goal and a guy who has locked down that left back spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought in the last round, he really established himself in that spot. And today, he continued that. He was dangerous. I love the 2-foot challenge on Pulisic to start the game. That kind of got the ball rolling. But then I love how that direct second half, got in good advanced positions, and was in the right spot at the right time.
Remember time? We didn't know who the left back for the United States was going to be.
Yeah, maybe by default because the competition there, it's not a very strengthened pull when it comes to that left back position. But he's a la mode of Brendan Aronson, just a very productive player. When he gets his opportunities, you hear his name, you remember his name.
How about that goal? Really well taken tonight.
Yeah, it's a real good shot, and he deserves it. You know what I like on him? He keeps it simple, and he's there for the team, and he works for the team, and that shows it.
Final thoughts tonight. We're more focused on the performance or just the fact that we're coming away with 3?
First and most, it has to be points. That's you applaud the points, but then you do also, I know, Craig, they're going to look at this, and they know that they can play better, and they know that they will play better, and they know in future matches they'll have to play better to get 3 points.
Yeah, and against Canada, they got to play better, right?
Well, yeah, you come down to Columbus because you supposedly have an advantage over El Salvador because of the elements. It didn't look like it was that much of a superior advantage, but you got the 3 points. Now you have to make it count versus Canada.
How much better do they have to be?
They have to be way better. But we always talking about it. Like in all the games we had in the first half, struggle. Second half, they change it. And I think they can go down there and they make it.
All right, that's going to do it for our coverage here on ESPN2 from Columbus, Ohio. But we got plenty more on this match as Fútbol Américas takes over on ESPN+. Once again, the final score from Columbus, Ohio. Thanks to that man, Anthony Robinson, the United States, 1-0 winners over El Salvador. 3 more points on the road to Qatar. Up next here on ESPN2, college basketball.